Clearly, it was a pick that did not work out. Millenium, can't imagine they expect to see that one again. And can't imagine we'll see Roccat pick it up. But the name of the game in this series, as it has been for the last few games, is top lane bans. Fiora, Shen, Gnar, Gangplank. And once again, both halves of the Malzahar-Swain matchup taken off the table. But this leaves the Trundle open. Millenium do not hesitate to grab it, a very powerful first pick.
So flexing that Trundle over on the blue side. The Shen was the one that got through in the last game. What this means is Karma is up right now, and I would expect Roccat to instantly lock that Karma in right this second. Do it, Memento. Because typically we never see Karma available on red side first rotation, and if it ever is, you just lock it exactly like that. So again, they're prioritizing Steeelback with it.
Yeah, and it looks like a more comfortable pick, and of course, Karma, the flexibility to be bottom lane or mid lane. Once again, a potential supportive pick for Betsy. This one, though, a little bit more potent overall.
Yeah, a little bit better in the mid lane as well than Sona. So he does have that option. Similar style, yes. I like it, but does do better. We'll see whether the Kassadin comes out in this rotation, which is what Pretty did in the last game. Right here was where he took it. They took hecarim in the last game, though, but Djoko fancies himself the gragas that he played in game 1.
Yeah, pretty proficient on it. We saw him steal away a couple of dragons. It was a relatively useful tool in team fights. Although a few unfortunate explosive casts may have knocked away too many people, but if it looks nice, just run it twice, and that is going to be the story for the Kassadin. A pretty pick in the hands of Pretty. Which
puts us in the situation now where we're likely to get the hecarim out of Memento if things are going to go the same way. Of course, the Nidalee is still available, should they want it. The likes of the Rek'Sai is up as well, should they want to put that into this matchup. We obviously don't know yet whether Kaze is going Trundle in the top lane. So the top lane matchup is still open, but so many bans away means we're getting ekko up in that top lane. Possibly into the Fiora, not available this time for Millenium, so it could be that Trundle still.
Maybe not the most ideal matchup, but we've seen how good Parang was on that ekko in those later game team fights. Masterwork, he always hovers Sona, but this time it's a little bit more insult to injury. Betsy, of course, dying 8 times in that game, the most this year in a single game in Europe. So,
oh man, Sona support is okay and played commonly in America and other regions as well. We've seen it a handful of times here in Europe, so we may actually see a Sona lock-in, but not for the mid lane. Trundle still could go down to the bottom lane, depends on what they want to see against that ekko in the top lane.
It looks like they want to see an Irelia in that soft lane, a very potent 1v1 laner, similar to the Fiora. Once again, Parang does not look like a great laning phase for him, although this matchup, potentially a little bit more back and forth depending on what the early game looks like.
So, where are we going? Is Karma going mid or is Karma going support? Typically, Raze has favored more towards than putting it in the mid lane. Has played 4 games of Karma, but it is going to be the lock-in on the alistar, which rounds out the kind of composition that we're looking for. Again, Roccat, for a second game in a row, are running one of these utility mid laners focused on helping Steeelback out. Perhaps this time they're looking for Parang to have a little bit more out in the side lane on his own with this ekko, but into Irelia. In Europe, this isn't a particularly common matchup yet. We've started seeing more ekko in Korea, but to that point, we don't quite see as much Irelia.
This is what I'm really concerned about, because last game there was not nearly enough damage on the side of Roccat, and while yes, there's going to be a little bit more coming in from the Karma, there's still not a lot of damage on the side of Roccat. You have a Lucian who can be very good in the early to mid game, as Deficio mentioned on the desk. You have a hecarim with that Trinity Force, but who on this team is going to kill this Kassadin if he gets ahead? If it gets to late game, who is going to kill the Irelia if she leaps into the backline?
It's not only that, who is going to hold the side lanes if Millenium decide to play out on the side lanes, if Irelia and Kassadin ever get ahead in this game? This is kind of game done without a team fight.
But to be fair, these are picks that we have seen before. We don't have to be skeptical about the picks. We know Roccat are comfortable here. We'll have to see if they can execute. If you think they can execute, you can vote for them on Twitter at LOL Esports, hashtag ROC win. Of course, Millenium, you saw them crush a Sona mid last game. Maybe you're hoping that they can crush a Karma too. Hashtag MIL win if you think they can bring it up to 2-1. Both these teams would love to move to match point, and remember that the loser here has to walk away from LCS. We get ready for our 3rd game of the series. There's no Sona this time around. Could be a good shot for both teams to win as we get ready and get geared up here for Game 3 in this pivotal set between Millenium and Roccat 1-1. Both of them looking to turn that one into a 2.
Yes.
That's how many ways can I say it? Because it's a best of 5.
It's okay. Game 3.
Game point is actually insane amounts of pressure.
Somebody's going to take a lead after this game, Sifa. Don't you worry. Somebody's going to have a 2. It's impossible not to at this point. We have seen Karma into Kassadin before. Generally is a decent matchup as well here. But Millenium is looking to build off their last game, looking to keep going forward with the momentum, because last game they weren't really challenged by Roccat.
Exactly, and they have a lot of the same tools as well. Once again, got pretty in the mid lane on that Kassadin. You've got a terrifying split-pushing threat in the Irelia, similar to what we saw from that Fiora in Game 1 that Kaze performed so well on. And Djoko has that gragas. He was initiating fights left and right on. But Memento has once again gotten the hecarim. This was a good pick for him. And Betsy, Karma's is significantly better supportive mid pick. That is absolutely clear. Yes, you don't have a crescendo, but what you do have is, well, legitimate damage in the early game.
Legitimate damage, legitimate utility at most stages in the game as well. You're able to output quite a lot, and Kassadin generally can't bully you around in any circumstance. So as we end up in a lane swap, this time not Australia lanes, we've got both duos invading into the red buff. Masterwork will spot that nobody is starting there, though. And ekko is shown in the top lane, which is a bit of a dangerous play to start this off. Now Tabzz doesn't get damage down on him.
Trying to walk away. Not sure what he's going to be able to get. A few more autos as Parang gets knocked down to have health. Not how he wanted to start the laning phase at all.
I mean, that situation is a really rough one, because Parang knows that his duo lane is invading in the bottom side, which you kind of will assume then Millenium are doing the same on the top side. So pushing up to the wave without seeing the enemy top laner, either bottom or top, is just kind of risky at that point. It's the reason you don't do it. You're overextended in your lane. Now you've had your flash pop, and you're in a situation where if you end up in standard lanes in a delayed sense, kind of in a rough spot. So now he's going to TP down to the bottom lane and look to push on. He did, however, get 2 CS. Yay, right home about 2 CS. But we're into a lane swap.
If he doesn't lose out and get punished, that is actually a decent boon for him. Of course, you can see now on your lane swap cans. We're going to keep our focus on Betsy and Pretty, trading it up in the mid lane, but in the meantime.
Big difference here. Look, already half of this tower's health is gone. Millenium haven't even touched the tower, and despite being able to get a flash from Parang earlier, that has no real correlation compared to the tower push difference between these two teams. Look at it. This tower is nearly dead for Roccat in the bottom side. Millenium have only just got there.
And you can see the difference in execution here. Maybe Rockat's LCS experience is playing off, although Tabzz also doing a pretty decent job of tanking up the creep wave and pulling it back. He has a little bit more free time to hit on this tower. At the end of the day, though, large tempo advantage for Roccat means even more free time on the bottom side for Parang to farm.
And the thing is, it's the second part of this is that Steeelback and Raze are going to get up to the top side fast enough that there's really no way of Millenium doing too much else in this lane swap. I mean, Millenium are just barely going to get this turret down as they are going to look to trade from this. Look, 3 minions left in this, and Steeelback is nearly hit. The turret is dead.
Tower hitting Kaze. Kaze is going to be able to walk away from this one, although that is close. And that is in the LCS, we usually only see 1 or 2 tempo advantages at most, or 1 or 2 seconds. Sorry, not 1 or 2 seconds. 5 to 10 seconds at most. But now this is like almost a complete minute of tempo advantage, a massive difference.
And the difference comes in the top laners now. Kaze was afforded no time up top to be able to sit in that wave, take some of the extra minions afterwards, get some experience. Level 3 Parang, even despite that misplay in the beginning of the game, to a level 1 Kaze. No CS, no real way of pushing forward. Now Kaze, however, is TPing down into the bottom side against Parang because Tabzz is here, and it allows him to stay safe. But now it just is going to kind of result in the same sort of thing, because look, Roccat are already on the tower in the top side.
And it's an even
thing is happening.
Bigger tempo disadvantage this time. They may not even be able to take that second tower. If Roccat move down to collapse on them, this could be a massive shift, because you can see they're pushing the wave up right now, and Roccat are already a third of the way to the tower, approaching halfway. It's very rare that we see this much of a difference in a lane swap. We're so used to seeing it in the LCS, and in Challenger, both teams are usually at the same pace, but Roccat with a massive lead now, freeing up so much time.
This was one of the questions we had coming into these best of fives, is how good are the macro senses of a team like Roccat, who, okay, they didn't do so well when it came to a lot of the wins and the losses, but just being in the LCS means you have to have a level of coherent early game play in a lane swap. If you don't, you will get crushed by every single team in the league because everybody is going to be better than you at it. Roccat still have that, and they're able to take this early game advantage ahead of Millenium. The actual difference in this lane swap means Millenium don't have the time to now go and get Dragon after this because Roccat will be out on the map fast enough to deny that push. So a lot of people will be saying, hey, what does it matter? They both got both towers from it. It means that Millenium can't really keep going forward from this.
And let's be clear here. You want to see the difference? Look at the top lane CS. 5 to 19. That Ekko is miles ahead of that Irelia. And while both these champions seem to be repeatedly nerfed, you can be sure that if either one of them gets an advantage in this lane, it's going to be really rough to turn it around. 9 CS comes in for the Irelia, and that's all, unfortunately, she's going to get. She may move to the top side to get that wave, but Tabzz and Masterwork are already there, so not really sure where Kaze is going to go to get CS. It does not look like an easy game for him. In the mid lane, pretty similarly in trouble. The Karma is a lot scarier than the Sona.
Way scarier at that point. And now, what Roccat need to make sure that they can do for the majority of this game is deny Kaze from
Hemba pulverized from nowhere. Raze says, let's make it a party. Pretty still gets locked up. And a nice trip to the Raptor camp to make a first blood over to Roccat. That was out of nowhere. Raze with the aggressive map movement.
Yeah, straight over the wall, gets into that mid lane fight, and suddenly first kill goes over to Roccat. And again, at this point, Kaze is struggling for any sort of farm. I mean, look, he's still only on 10 farm, and it's because he can't go bottom lane because Roccat are pushing it in. He hasn't been able to get farm from top side, so with Pretty dying here, all he can do is hold mid lane.
Just, what do you do as a kassadin? You riff walk flash, and that's not enough. Oh, Betsy, good positioning, though, to keep that snare going, and I think, unfortunately for the kassadin, even if the snare did not connect, Betsy cues the Raptors, and the Raptors are more than happy to finish that one up.
Exactly. The Raptors will do the hard work for you.
Oh, level 6 for Djoko. Raze one more time on the headbutt pulverize. No follow-up this time around, however, as Roccat look to take a second tower. The lane swap just continues to go, but Raze has overstayed his welcome. Kaze's only level 3, though, so he doesn't do enough damage. And Raze is just going to walk his way out of this one, or is he? Pulverize comes in. We're moving forward from Kaze, but has he overstepped? No, Masterwork there to back him up. Kaze taking so much damage. The double tap comes in. Steeelback grabs a kill of his own. Out comes the ultimate. It hits Djoko on the backside. Betsy on the way in, ready to speed them up. Parang jumping in as well. He has to flash. Ooh. Tower's going to cut him down. An overstep from Parang in a balanced out trade. In the end, actually a 2-for-1 in favor of Millenium.
Parang was trying to go aggressive without his ultimate in that situation, tried to dive under the tower, didn't have the survivability, didn't really get the shield, I don't believe, from his W either. And as Roccat were trying to push aggressively for the bottom turret, they actually end up getting it punished because they end up going 1-for-2 overall. They give a kill over to the Kassadin and over to the Irelia. That's exactly what Millenium were hoping for, but initially the engage onto onto Djoko from Raze is ultimately going to end up costing Raze because he's got no way of getting out from this scenario. So Roccat are forced to burn a lot to try and keep Raze alive for longer. And Kaze comes in and gets the kill to begin this one off. From that, teleports come in, and it's not enough.
I'm so used to seeing like the level 4 alistar when everyone else is level 7 and watching him get popped. We never see a level 4 alistar against like a level 3 Irelia. And as the fight continues, I mean, you can see all of these low levels. These guys are fighting so early in Parang.
He didn't get it. That's the second time in this series where we've seen Parang make a play on Ekko and not get the shield.
And to be fair to him, the tower changes a couple patches ago are pretty brutal. You do not mess around with tower aggro when you do not have ult. Definitely a rough path. Of course, you can see, though, not too rough, because there's a 40 CS differential on the top side.
Level 6 to level 4, and Kaze shouldn't even be going to this lane without help right now. You can see Djoko and Pretty are on the top side of the map, so they can look to go up there, but Kaze cannot step up to that lane at all.
And the thing is, I mean, yes, there's a 10 CS advantage for Tabzz, but this isn't, like, this CS is just gone. Like, there is not any way to recoup this advantage. Maybe there are 15 creeps on the top side that Ekko will eventually push in. But Kaze is not coming back from this difference, at least at this point.
But look at Memento in the lane here, shadowing behind Parang, because they know the one play Millenium need is Parang to die here against Kaze. They need to bring the jungler topside, which Millenium ultimately aren't ending up doing. They thought about it, then they thought not to do it, and Djoko's now heading back, so they kind of want to do it. But I think they may even have seen Memento There was a ping on Memento in the back of the wave, so maybe he snuck out into vision accidentally. Betsy wants to go aggressive mid lane again.
A little bit harder now that kassadin is comfortably at level 6, full health, full mana. And the catalyst as well to make sure that he gets all of that back.
Oh, here goes Memento.
Forward, Kaze in trouble. Fear comes down, but the gank has been interrupted. Memento's just going to keep running. Ain't no reason to stop. He sees more members come, and he's just going to clear out. But I like the aggressive playmaking coming in for Roccat. Clearly after last game, they are done messing around. They are done making mistakes. They want to make their way back to LCS.
Oh, that was good. That was funny. Oh, bot lane. Here comes the damage.
Call. 1 shot, 2, 3. Not as much damage as he wanted there. Oh, headbutt pulverized forward, but that is an overstep. Exhaust comes in and Raze. Oh, Deathfire touch. Combine it with a little bit of subjugate. You got enough dots there to take down the cow.
Raze was only level 5. Had to aggressively kind of try and protect Steeelback. Was not enough there.
Okay, let's be clear here. Raze was trying to turn that around. That was not a protection. That man headbutt pulverized forward after the 4th shot was fired.
Okay, he was aggressively trying to protect. That's how I'm going to say it.
This is how you
Raze, look, he's like, I've got to block it. I've got to block that 4th shot. Try and get it before, and then, yeah.
I mean, as we see the Cloud Drake go down in the favor of Millenium, Raze, for better or worse, is an aggressive player. It wins them a lot of team fights because he is fearless in those engages. And unfortunately, it costs him a decent amount as well. Frank throwing down a bit of damage on this tower. Not running straight for the Triforce. Is actually going to go for the Giant's Belt early on.
Oh, yeah. That's,
not sure what the thought is there.
I saw the second Ruby Crystal, and I was like, he's probably just going to use that for something later. I wasn't anticipating going into the Giant's Belt right now. So what this will do is delay his timing on some of his damage, on the aspect where, you know, he's got the other bits of, you know, everything else with the Trinity Force, the attack speed, everything. Of course,
more health in the early game will make him tankier in these team fight situations.
Maybe it'll be the difference between catching his parallel convergence once or missing it in the bottom lane like the last time. But,
it's been a rough...
It has.
Rough life for Perang.
Yeah. I can't speak for most of it, only the students we get here every week. So I'm just going to...
Wow.
I'm going to assume there are things that have gone a lot better than that ekko dive in the bottom.
I mean, he's playing in LCS stuff.
Yeah,
life can't be that rough. For now, he's playing in LCS, of course, fighting for his life in that exchange. And now Djoko trying to gain control of his own jungle as Roccat. Don't want to push any further down. And the game has stalled out to a certain degree. Roccat still holding on to that gold lead, 3-2. The kill score in Millenium with that Cloud Drake. But the next one is going to be an Infernal, something we've seen teams consistently fight over. And this time around, Betsy on a much better path. 1-0-0, already has the Athenes.
And has the CS lead to go with it. Oh yeah, everything that Roccat won. They've held the solo laners down from Millenium. They've been able to get experience advantages, CS leads, everything they need. Doesn't matter that Tabzz is 10 CS up. That's all good. Nobody really is going to write home about that because Steeelback is going to get added protection, utility, everything from Betsy. Ardent Sensor's coming up next. Everything's coming up Roccat in this game.
Yeah, so far so good.
Even though it's almost a tight game.
Yeah, even though it's just about even. And it's interesting because we've never seen one of these teams just crush the other one in the first 2 games. I mean, okay, well, in the early game, because Millenium obviously did some damage in last game's late game. But, I mean, it's been very even in the early game. Neither team's taken a crazy lead. Neither team's really snowballed these games out of control until the really mid-game point.
So the funny thing on this game is, I was just taking a look at some of the gold leads between the lanes. Top lane is only about a 200 gold lead because of the kill that's on irelia. And Masterwork's kill is actually evening up a lot of the overall gold lead between the 2 teams as well. So very interesting dynamic on how that is being evened up despite fairly significant leads in the solo laners. But we're nearing the point that Roccat want to be at. We've got 2 components from each of the Trinity Force for top and jungles. Isn't Trinity Forces Trinity?
You have one of the forces working on the Trinity, I guess. I don't know.
Is it forces?
It's Trinity Force. It's a single Trinity Force.
No, but there are 2.
Trinity Forces? I don't know, but Djoko might. He's gonna make it out to safety. See the tower drop in the mid lane, and Roccat once again building themselves a decent lead, utilizing that lane pressure on the Karma. Trinity Force. Yeah, I think it's definitely.
See, you're trying to figure it out.
I know. It's.
I can't think of another plural because like there's no way to make it like an I at the end.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
No, it's definitely Trinity Forces. I think we're seriously overthinking this. People are like, what else would it possibly be?
That's what I'm trying to think.
I just feel like I'm so consistently wrong on plurals that I'm convinced that there has to be another word.
Yeah,
like I'm trying hard to invent another word just to justify, like just to make sure.
But all of them sound stupid and ridiculous. So we're just going to go.
This game is going to be a
fine.
flock of Trinity Forces. A group
Flock
of Trinity Forces is called a flock. Doesn't work. But there are going to be 3 of them. 2 on the side of Roccat, between the hecarim and the ekko top lane. Of course, Trinity Force. The new hit build with ekko. And on the opposite side, Irelia. This is the classic. Since the good old days of Irelia, Trinity Force has been a staple.
Yeah, no like old items. Like some people would, you go like Ionic Spark and all
God,
that.
I forgot about that.
I gotta get that split push going, man. But no, now it's the Trinity Force. Some people build Ghostblade. Ghostblade. I'm not a particularly big fan of it. I feel like it makes you too squishy. The old build was like Randuin's Omen. You'd pick up. Make sure you can stay safe.
Yeah.
Give you a little bit of tankiness. I prefer that build. That's
Well,
what I like.
To see which direction Kaze wants to take it. Maybe able to finish up the item after he clears out this wave. Is recouping a decent amount of CS, but still a 40 CS lead present. Pretty. He's hiding in the bush. And Raze, a little bit more than he bargained for, but trying to turn it around. Parang leaps forward, Stunfield up and available, and they are going to get Masterwork. He's taken out, but Djoko looking to turn it. Parang snap back to trade the tower aggro as the tower falls. Raze locked up briefly, but has the damage and vulnerability. Kaze on the side, level 9 Irelia, ready to move in, but no Trinity Force yet. Duelist not going to dash forward, but Praise is trying to turn. Kaze runs to the backline. Parang trying to get the stun. How many can he lock up? That's a few. Betsy going to get a kill back. Snare going to come out onto Betsy, but it's too little too late. Steeelback dashes forward. The cleanup AD carry going to temper that aggression.
Didn't have the mana available to keep going forward. Doesn't quite have the itemization to keep going in that kind of scenario. Ran low. Had the damage and health, perhaps, if he was able to get the autos off, but not against the mobility that Millenium still had. So this was all from Pretty going aggressive onto Raze. Already got half of his health there, and Pretty managed to get himself back away from that. Here's where the damage turnaround comes from, though, because Steeelback is focusing down the turret while the rest of his team ends up kind of falling underneath it. That's why he ends up on such low health, because nobody was able to touch him from how far back he was sitting. Millenium looked to collapse here into the shield from Karma, makes it fairly difficult to burn through at first, but then the multi-person stun out of Parang. Steeelback doesn't feel confident going forward, despite knowing he could deal with this if he had the time. Everybody runs away.
Kaze in trouble. Trinity Force Ekram goes in, challenging Smite goes down, and Kaze, that's not a challenge you want to accept, and suddenly Pretty is in the enemy lines. Pulling coming in, Pretty gonna look for a way out. He's gonna try it after the pit, but he fumbles it, and down goes Pretty.
He needed one step closer to the edge. Unfortunately, though, he was about to break behind the Dragon Pit as Roccat now turn their attention to the Infernal Drake.
Yeah,
The fumble from Pretty.
Park themselves in the Dragon Pit, pick up an Infernal. Feeling pretty good. Pretty has to be numb after that one.
Well, here comes the beginning of this fight. You can see Parang manages to link up his damage there with Memento and the rest of Roccat. And here comes... Oh, he was going at an angle. Feels bad, man.
Yeah.
The thing is,
How
he
you
had
want
the time.
Betsy, though, getting aggressive here. Watch the time go right out the window.
Okay, let's stop. Great.
It's unreal because Betsy's getting turned on, and the fight keeps going as Pretty gets one back. Raze in unwelcome territory as he has to use the ult to get away, but Djoko's not done yet. Neither is Memento. Knocked back and knocked out. Curtain call, but it won't be curtains for Raze. The team is there to body block, and Memento's going to make it out safely.
Millenium managed to pick Betsy up in exchange for Djoko in that scenario. Millenium want to keep going under this turret. They've only got a few minions here, but perhaps they want the encore on this one as Parang steps forward towards the parallel convergence, holds the wave for now.
I mean, a good hold by Roccat. Millenium not getting over-aggressive, but they're slowly coming back in this game, and once again, it doesn't feel like either team is snowballing a massive lead quite yet.
Well, this was the catch onto Betsy. Kaze, he may have started this game kind of rough, but he has the damage now that he has Triforce, so he's able to take this out. Great knockup from Raze.
Additionally, the Rift Herald gifted over to him makes that initial burst that much sweeter.
Yeah.
Raze
Ooh, just gets out.
Curtain call comes in. Oh! I mean, he's so close to dying. He's so close. If it was not for the damage, that last probably tick of damage and vulnerability on the ultimate, he may have gone down to the Deathfire touch, but just a game of inches there in the mid lane to turn that one.
Just enough to keep alive. But again, this game feels like it's back and forth, Sifa. Take a look at the gold. For once, there's actually a lead.
4K gold lead. Every time we see the kills this close, the teams are dead even, but 4K this time in the favor of Roccat. That's the 2 towers backing them up. And a decent amount of farm lead across the board as well. You can see 136 to 204, the massive gold differential in the mid lane. The 1K. Kassadin's got 4 kills, so he's doing his best to even it up. It only gets rougher from there.
Very rare to see a Kassadin have 4 kills and be down like 60 CS.
And the hecarim has more gold than the Irelia, so things aren't looking great for Millenium. Gonna have to see what they can do. They have Kassadin will continue to scale, continue to be terrifying. Of course, Karma a little bit less high damage as we move in further into the game. Has the Ardent Sensor, has the Athene, maybe looking for the Death Cap. Curtain Call comes out. This time it's just for wave clear, however. Now paired with the barrel. Keep your eyes on the Gragas, though.
Oh, Pretty wants to go in. You can see him looking very antsy off at the side. Has his flash available. Kaze is on the bottom side of the map, but there were enough wards behind the Millenium, behind the Roccat lineup, that they could have maybe looked for that play. But for Roccat right now, they are pretty happy with this lead. No Dragon available yet. Good few minutes before that is going to be up. So Baron is really the only objective that is available, that is a neutral objective. Kaze wants to push up for this, though. Has to be careful he's not being too greedy. Ekko's on his way, and that forces Kaze back away.
Betsy, though, continuing to have enough wave clear to clear this out. Despite the defensive itemization or the supportive itemization, of course, still enough base damage in Karma's kit to clear those waves quite easily. Now Kassadin, as he's a higher level now, should be pretty easy for him to get out of these situations. Still has to respect the potential engage. Roccat, decent amount of vision control on the top side, but you can see the warding coming up from Millennium is so defensive. Clear sign that they've been playing on the back foot, but the gold lead also starting to even up. Only 3K between them.
It's a little bit, only because Roccat have basically had their foot off the gas for a minute here. Roccat have just been like, well, we'll back away, we'll accept the waves that are coming towards us in a minute or so, and deal with it later. So Roccat should be able to establish that little extra of a gold lead as the waves resettle themselves next time Millenium look to back off.
And a few interesting things here as well. Of course, Duskblade coming out on Tabzz this time around, not opting for the early mob on Mortius. And additionally, we talked about top lane itemization earlier on. Ghostblade, a usual second item for Irelia. How do you feel about Blade of the Rune King as an aggressive item?
I feel like Kaze thinks he's Jax right now. It's not a bad item, but it's not great. Raze goes aggressive.
Get a chance to talk about items, and Roccat take a chance to start a fight. They aren't going to get anything from it in the end. No flash cooldowns either, so actually a good exchange in favor of Millennium.
It's one of those items that's kind of halfway in between. It's like, I want damage, I want some survivability here, I want to kind of be able to stick on people, get away from people, that sort of thing. So it's not a bad item per se, just is a little different from what we normally see. As I said, normally seen on Jax, this build, Triforce into Blade because it gives you such good dueling potential.
See if Kaze has the opportunity to get these duels, because Parang may be looking for them. Maybe shouldn't, though. Third stack on the Z-Drive Resonance moving forward. Parallel convergence coming in. Betsy looking to throw some damage down over the wall. Flash forward. Snare gets juked. He's going to throw down the snare in the end, though, and that's going to be a drop down from Kaze. He does not have a chrono break or a chrono shift to keep him safe.
Well, that's the problem as well, is Parang is going to stick on top of him because of the passive. Every time he gets that third hit, he's going to get that burst of movement speed, is able to slow him down with the Q. Very difficult for Kaze to get out of those 1v1s as soon as he starts losing, because Irelia is not exactly a champion that has the most defensive maneuverability.
Well, especially away from a minion wave is too. Usually you see those juke and the jive and a little bit of fancy footwork to make it out. But if you are alone in the river, there's no fancy footwork. You just die.
If you're running down the long lane, no minions next to you to jump to, nope, you have no chance of getting away from an Ekko, because that is one of his strengths. It's absolute dominance in that kind of area.
Insane mobility, of course. Are going to have a pause coming out here. We'll update you guys as to what's going on as soon as we figure it out.
I was just actually updating my Instagram.
I see.
So we're checking the filters.
This is Sepia. Old-timey. Now we're in the Western version of League of Legends, as you can see.
Now,
or can no longer see, but from that high noon Jhin skin.
Considering how close that is to your name, Sifa, does it have a silent T on it.
No, see, the secret to creating a good caster name is to pick what you want your name to be and then pick completely random letters to spell it.
Okay.
So that it's not at all phonetic. And that's the story of how Sifa.
That is fair. Still think you could have gone with Dracos, but then I guess.
Yeah, I know. You and the rest of the
I
caster
know,
team.
I'm just saying.
I don't know.
Seeing people
I don't want to
in
be
threads.
Daniel Dracos. That's all I'm saying. Roccat gonna grab another dragon. While we're trying to figure out what the correct naming convention was for me.
Could have gone with just Drake, but then I guess
Daniel
that's already
Dracos.
taken.
We're gonna hire another caster named Josh. We can have the Drake and Josh cast.
Oh,
Is that what we want?
That would be the best. That would be great. I'd be happy with that.
Oh, Joshua Jat Leesman. We could do it.
Yeah, that actually would work.
Gross.
I cannot.
As much as I'd love to cast with Jad, that is not the joke that I want to be running. That's not what I would ever want a duo to be named.
Just forget anything else. It's just you don't want to cast them on merit or anything. You're just I want this.
I want this.
Just this joke.
I want the nostalgia. That's all I'm here for. The nostalgia. Bringing back the old school. Similar to the Irelia build. Just play to the rune. Not going to get finished up though. Irelia having a rough time. Still a 30 CS differential. And the gold maintaining at about the 3K difference. Baron, of course, should be the next big objective, but Roccat are really taking their time here. I'm not really sure what they're waiting for. Maybe not confident in setting up around Baron. It's been a rough game in terms of consistency on these objectives. Roccat hesitating here, which is not what we always want to see from an LCS team.
Yeah, little hesitation. Roccat really struggling to secure objectives that weren't started by Millenium. Struggling to take their own. Random question, if you remember, was it Drake or Josh that lost a lot of weight after and then started doing other films and stuff? I can't remember.
I'm going to be honest. I was not a big Drake and Josh, but I just remember it.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those things where inevitably when you bring up nostalgia, certain people bring it up.
Production just pinged me that it was Josh, somebody up there from Statsland.
It was Josh that lost a lot of weight and continued his career.
Somebody watched a lot of Nickelodeon when they were a kid.
Yeah. Oh, Memento caught out. Has to keep moving forward. He's just going to dash his way out of this one. 4-shot going to go wide. Not going to be able to get it, but Raze is in no man's land, and he is now set to fall. Roccat getting picked off, but Betsy over the wall, just going to throw down a bit of damage onto Djoko. Get it. Pretty gets the pick, though. Betsy suddenly all alone. This is not what you want. Masterwork moving in. Pillar comes down. He's speeding himself up. He's trying to run to safety. He does not have the time. The snare goes down, and Pretty is now on a killing spree. We've seen what happens when Pretty gets ahead. Now 6-3 on this kassadin. It only gets scarier from here, and Roccat getting picked off left and right.
Roccat just not really making uniform moves, looking for the top side, then moving to mid, but not being in position to kind of collapse when Millenium looked to engage, and Millenium just kind of come out and just take down Raze, take down Betsy. I mean, look at it. Betsy's not in a position to move. Harang is in the bottom lane and has just used his TP. So there's no way of him grouping on top of Roccat either here. So this is just Raze being out of position with the rest of his team. Betsy can't even get there in time. And then he's on vision the entire way up.
You watch Betsy go down here, but think about how that started. Memento getting caught out. If you look back at game one, that was a consistent story. When that Fiora was strong, Memento was consistently ulting away from fights, running for his life. And I feel like with Raze now overextending Betsy once or twice, Roccat really need to figure out what they want to be doing, because consistently individual members are getting caught out.
It's happening again, Sifa. There's a 6-kill kassadin heading towards the late game.
Pretty must feel good. He's like, oh, my team was losing horribly. Things were bad. We were so far down, but
I'm on it. Don't
oh, hey, I'm a 6-kill kassadin again. Roccat.
I can solo carry
and the worst part is that Roccat are just not making this easy on themselves.
No.
They had a path to victory. Yes, they maybe had to take some risks. They had to play around Baron. They had to make some moves that they may not have been comfortable with. But now they're getting caught out, although they may have to start a fight now. Ekko goes in, Masterwork stunned up, curtain call coming in, and the headbutt pulverized goes in. That's the combo. Pretty feared up. Can he get out of this one? Zhonya's comes down. Where's he going to dash? Steeelback is ready to fall. They're moving forward. Dash over the wall. 2 autos. It is going to be enough. Shut down onto the mid laner. Roccat trying to back off. Rise to the body wall on the front side. Frank throwing down the parallel convergence, threatening the double stun. Tabzz, that's not what you want. The combo, the follow-up. Roccat cut them down.
Roccat come away with that one the better. 3 kills on the board. Now they look for the Baron after a couple of sloppy fights. This time the combos land, and suddenly Roccat have brought a little bit new tech to this best of 5. Looking for the Baron, going to try and extend the lead for themselves.
Ah, beautiful chain CC comes out. The Baron now set to fall. Masterwork hiding in the brush, a spectator with a long, slow goodbye to the Baron himself. They're going to be able to recall out of this one and start to pressure those lanes. 5K gold lead. Things back.
Oh,
and now, oh,
there we go.
Replay, out of replay. Let's get one more look at it.
We got it. So here was the lockdown onto Masterwork. Double stun into the hecarim, or double knock up into the hecarim, I should say. This is where Steeelback starts turning the damage on before another parallel convergence lands from Parang. This one importantly hits Tabzz here right as he's looking for the rest of his damage here. Looks for the 4th shot. It fires, but they get the multi-person stun onto Millenium, follow it up, and get back up to the Baron.
And every time we see Roccat get caught out, they turn it around with another beautiful team fight. Raze, critical of him getting caught time and time again. But man, he knows how to put on the moves in those team fights, hitting those double headbutt pulverizers, starting up those combos.
That's some equal damage there as well. Very rare you see that from a team fight.
Everybody gets a turn. You know, Karma gets to do some damage. Lucian gets to do some damage. hecarim, ekko.
Oh, Roccat, they're going for mid lane.
Raze
dies.
You want to give Raze a movement speed steroid, he's happy to take it. ekko just going to hop out of that situation. Doesn't want anything to do with it, but now the rest of Roccat are on the way.
Roccat want to push out for another turret. They're playing on 2 waves because bottom lane is pushing in towards them, so they will only really be able to force out 2 at a time. Kassadin's heading mid lane, does have teleport available, but Roccat are able to get this tower without any really contest from Millenium.
As the gold lead continues to grow, this is Rockat's biggest gold lead all season.
All season?
All season. Where it just came in from production. What? A massive lead in favor of them. And they've struggled in so many games. And the games that they have won have been so back and forth. But this gold lead.
Roccat haven't had a 7,000 gold lead all in 36 regular season games plus 2 from this best of 5. They have not had this lead. That is astounding, but tells the whole story of Rockat's split. Did you say season or split? It's fine.
Split. Sorry, not
no,
season.
That's fine.
I misspoke.
That's okay.
Split, not
I was going to be like, oh, yeah.
No. Things weren't quite as grim in the previous split for Roccat. But now they're going to continue to grow it, continue to set that bar higher. They take down the dragon.
I don't know whether that it's on the up and up or whether it's like, well, you peaked. I hope that it's not.
I mean, if this is the peak, they're making it back into LCS. So
yeah, that's true.
Not a bad place to start. Moving forward, tower's going to drop. TP's coming in, but it's going to get canceled in the end. 5 members strong of Roccat now on the bottom side. Inhibitor getting cut down and Parang moving forward. Roccat temper their aggression. Now going to look to move into the mid lane. With this big of a gold lead, with this much power on the lineup, it should be easy for them to break through these towers.
And the importance of this game for Roccat, this is a best of 5. So this would be put them in a 2-1 position. They have to win today to get to tomorrow's series, and that game will be the one that will hold their position if they were to win it in the
Tower
LCS.
drops. We see cooldowns traded. Roccat looking to make it back to the LCS as Djoko drops. Memento moving forward. He throws down the challenging smite, but Parang on the bottom side is going to be the one to push forward onto Pretty. Steeelback looking to cut through Masterwork. He'll make it out within an inch of his life. Roccat now collapsing. 2 inhibitors down. 33-minute mark, and their gold lead continues to grow. 10K in their favor. But after last game, they're not giving anything up. They're not taking any chances with their livelihood in the LCS, and they're going to back out of this one.
Yeah, Baron buff has expired, so Roccat need to back their way out. Don't want to overextend into this Kassadin here. Despite having the man overlap with Djoko still in the respawn timer, Millenium still have some potency. It's been a rough game for Millenium. They ended up behind on Kaze significantly. And it has been pretty much all Pretty to try and get them back into this game. Again, Roccat were looking to go aggressive here. They managed to get the 1 kill from this, but it wasn't enough to finish the game for now. So Roccat looked for it. In went Memento onto Kaze, but Djoko is getting taken out at the side by Steeelback. Finally, Steeelback showing up with a lot of damage. He has a lot of items completed now. 4.5 when you count the QSS as well. Roccat and Steeelback are a force to be reckoned with.
truly terrifying to go up against Roccat now. As they can, gold lead maintains at around 10k. The 3 dragons backing them up. The next dragon and Elder, although a long way off. Definitely something to consider. Roccat moving in for the last inhibitor. This should be a systematic close from them as they look to move on to match point in this series. But Millenium, not a whole lot of options left. We'll have to see if they have any shot at turning this around.
It's a good call.
One shot goes out too. It's not even breaking through the shield of Karma. Throwing it out there just to stop them from pushing forward.
Yeah, Roccat just back away. They know as long as they don't get engaged upon, they're not really taking too much damage from it, and they'll heal it back up with those 2 Ocean Drakes they have.
And additionally, Super Minions pushing on the bottom side as well as the mid lane. So things are not looking easy here for Millenium. If they want to start a fight, they need to do it before those waves hit the middle.
Look at it, Guardian Angels out for Parang and Memento. Effectively 7
Oh, Pretty
health
goes forward.
bars.
Doing a little bit of damage here. Pretty trying to get some damage down, but in goes Memento. Masterwork getting cut down by the culling as Raze goes forward as well. Memento trying to run his way out to safety. Does have the GA, and the tower's actually the thing that is starting to fall. Roccat just buying time with their tanky front line, cutting through the tower. Minions are now hitting the Nexus. Masterwork is running for his life, and it's not enough. Kaze next to fall. Memento moving forward as Tabzz gets 1v1 by Parang. The closeout here. Roccat, Parang with the snapback. Roccat with the fancy plays. They cut down the last inhibitor. They break the base, and they take the 3rd game in this series, moving up to 2-1.